Hey there, Capricorn. Welcome to your reading for the next 3 months for October, November, December of 2025. We're going to jump right in here, Capricorn. You have this card that says, now is a lucky time. You also have this card that says, you see clearly now. Yeah, definitely a good time for Capricorn. I mean, it is time for Capricorns, right? It is your time because you've been dealing with heavy energy for a very long time in your life. And so I kind of feel that, it is a lucky time for you. What I always say is that the type of luck that we are going to have right now is definitely luck that we put ourselves into. We have to create the luck. It's not really, I think it's inaccurate to say that it's a lucky time. We're going to have Uranus retrograde into Taurus one more time in November. And Uranus and Taurus isn't really luck because it's not a very lucky time because Uranus and Taurus wants us to build things that last for a long time, and it wants us to build it doesn't like fly by night situations. It doesn't like any flash in the pan type things or anything that's necessarily quick. So the challenge with Uranus and Taurus is to make sure that we are doing things that are built to last. But that's also how we can actually create luck, is by focusing on that and making that happen. And so I would but also the other thing I want to say is variety, right? The trick with the Uranus and Taurus, plus several other things that are going on, is to put ourselves in a variety of situations. If you're learning anything new, to learn from a variety of people or just a bunch of different ideas. And you have the 7 of Cups here, so that's why I'm saying it. Your first row, we are going to look at the 3 main themes that you're going to be dealing with over the next 3 months, and you have your first theme is the 2 of Swords. So needing to see things from other perspectives. We have Uranus in Gemini right now, but like I said, it will retrograde into Taurus. The trick with the 2 of Swords is we could be thinking this or that on anything that we're dealing with, but usually there's a third place or a third option, right? So, it kind of says how you think things are going to go is probably not how they're going to go, which I feel like I say to you a lot now, Taurus. And you're the only sign that gets this message. Maybe Cancer, your opposite sign, gets this message as well. But, I think that you need to realize that you probably actually don't know how things are going to turn out in any area of your life. But that could be a good thing because, she might be thinking things are going to be good or bad. But maybe it's actually somewhere in the middle. Or maybe things are going to be completely different, better than she expected. So, that's the kind of mindset I would have, is that, being willing to explore. And I feel that is a good theme for you. Instead of attaching outcomes to things, being more outcome, not needing an outcome, just saying I'm just going to enjoy the journey. I'm just going to see how this thing in my life goes. And this goes for every single area of your life here, Capricorn, and being willing to explore is a good idea. Next main theme is the 7 of Cups. You're probably a lot more dreamy than you normally are. We have Neptune retrograde until January. So, which makes sense. That could be making you more dreamy, could make you feel like you have a lot of ideas, a lot of dreams. I feel that 7 of Cups is saying explore these things. We kind of do have a little bit more time to, dream big with that Neptune and Pisces. So I encourage people to do it. But I also tell people that, again, it's fine to dream as long as you implement, as long as you do something with those dreams or those ideas, as long as you bring them down to earth. And that's, definitely something I would be doing. You could be having some really genius ideas, but if you don't use them, then no one is going to know, or you're just not going to get the benefit, right? So another theme that you will be dealing with is needing to bring your dreams down to earth. Next, you have the Queen of Wands. Yep, needing to be more, kind of similar to all 3 of those, really. I mean, she also is willing to go on an adventure. She's the card of learning as you go. And she doesn't need to know all the details. Maybe the 2 of Swords lady, she might be stuck because she might be thinking I don't have all the details. Or, I don't know what to do next, or whatever. But, the Queen of Wands, she's just willing to go on the adventure. So, like I said, I think really maybe there's one theme here, not really 3. Although what I would say is that I feel like you are making your life very different. She has this black cat here. The black cat on her card kind of represents, during the times of tarot, black cats were considered very unlucky. And the whole point of her black cat is she doesn't care what anyone thinks. She just likes her black cat, right? So she does things just because she wants to do them. She doesn't care what anyone else's opinion is. And, that could be a good theme for you to focus on here, Capricorn, is not caring what people think about the changes you're making. I mean, I do think Capricorns are changing significantly. And so obviously whenever you change, people are going to have something to say about it because you're, breaking the mold and you're probably making those people uncomfortable. I just noticed as well, in your next row, you have this card that says flip the script. So, you could definitely be mixing things up here and people could be like, what are you doing with your life? But your job is to do it anyway, whatever it is. With the Two of Swords, you have the Seven of Wands. This is very obvious to me based off your astrology, Capricorn. I feel like Capricorns are becoming more open. Seven of Wands can be very closed off, He is kind of like defending his position at the top of the hill here. He's not willing to be very flexible. But at the same time, I feel like you are. Like, I feel you're becoming more open. So that's what I feel intuitively here. And again, I think this is a very common energy that Capricorns are kind of working with right now. Being willing to be more flexible, be like more go with the flow type of energy here. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Five of Wands. Like competition, I feel some of you think that there's competition for something you want, but there actually isn't. I'm pretty sure I say this to you all the time, Capricorn, that, you're putting something on a pedestal here. And I feel like you need to not. And I also think that Capricorns could be making the requirements for something much higher, which I think people do this just in general. But, if you're thinking about starting a business or, improving your health or whatever, it's like what you are thinking is much harder than it's actually going to be. I'm not saying it's going to be easy either, but, I'm just saying, like, whatever you're thinking about doing, it's not going to be nearly as much of a challenge as the last 20 years of your life. Things are going to have a nicer flow. And again, that doesn't mean things are going to be perfect or anything like that. But I do feel this is kind of encouraging you to challenge yourself. And that's what I would do with that card. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Eight of Cups. Like I said, things have to change, right? He's walking away from these 8 cups here. And I always say he is walking away from something. Those 8 cups do provide him with something. Like a job. It would be like you walking away from a job that pays you money. People might be telling you you're crazy for walking away from this job and all this other stuff. I always tell a story. I had a friend back in high school, and he was working for a car dealership, and he set up their like online store, right? And he made them like millions of freaking dollars. And I used to talk to him all the time and be like, you need to do this like for yourself so you can make millions of dollars. And I remember talking to his mom, and his mom was like, but he needs health insurance that he gets from the job. I'm like, if you're making millions of dollars, you can afford your own health insurance, right? It's like he did this on his own. he could easily make this happen, and he doesn't have to worry about it. That is the Eight of Cups. It's like worrying about something sometimes where it's like, yeah, maybe you would need it and maybe it would be a risk, but at the same time, if you only knew how successful something would be, you wouldn't really be worrying about it. And that's kind of like the energy I get for you here, Capricorn, on the Eight of Cups. And this is the only card in the tarot that has an eclipse on it. We are going to have an eclipse on the day this video is published, the 21st, in Virgo. So, a lot of you definitely could be eclipsing something out of your life that's going to make your life better. He doesn't know if some people say he's walking towards the Nine of Cups, but he doesn't know that. He is walking away for the hopes of a brighter future, and a lot of you could be taking those risks. Next, what are we do? We're going to look at what you don't see coming. You have this Invoke Lucidity card. It says, question, test reality, and learn to fly. Yes. I think questioning reality is what you are doing. You have this Flip the Script. It says, take charge and choose your outcome. Damn. That is exactly what you should do, Capricorn. I think that's like the best part of this reading is that you can choose the outcome you desire, but you have to make it happen. You have to do it. You have to claim it, the outcome you want in life. We even, we end here with the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups, yeah, like sure, it's happy home, happy family. It can also represent fortune after difficulty. But really, it is kind of like their perfect vision for their life, which is really the Ten of Pentacles. But, Ten of Cups is pretty close. They have these 10 cups that exist up here. It's like a dream. It's a fantasy, but it's a fantasy that they could make real. You have the Three of Cups, the Temperance card, and the Nine of Cups. The Three of Cups can represent celebration, happiness. I think we're all going to become more social, or, maybe we should. Maybe that's a little bit of a something that we should be working on, all of us, is being more social. We have Pluto in Aquarius, and being more social and working together with other people, benefiting anything that benefits the collective is really beneficial right now. So I encourage everyone to do these things. You just never know what kind of benefits you can get from taking part in social opportunity and things like that. I also feel that you could be, like, if you are starting something new here, Capricorn, new project or whatever, I do feel like you are going to be surprised by, like, how much support you do receive. Even though with the Queen of Wands, I said that you could be experiencing some challenges with people who are like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, it feels like a lot of questions to me on that Queen of Wands. Like, I think people are questioning what you're doing or whatever. The Three of Cups, I feel, is saying, like, in the future, and even now, you could be finding more people. Although, the Three of Cups is like those, I always say that it is my card of those concentrated connections. It's only 3 people. So you might not have, like, it might not be like a ton of people that are supporting your vision right now, but it's probably the people that matter that are, so that's good. You have the Temperance card. Again, I think the speed at which you could be turning your situation around right now might be a little bit unexpected, or you might not really see how quickly you could do something. And I'm here to tell you this because, like, I want you to do it. Whatever it is you're working on, I feel that, it's divinely guided almost with the Temperance card. The Temperance card, this guy here is an angel, right? It's almost like your angels or your guides are kind of like pushing you down this path. This is the path to glory. There's this glowing crown back here. But I always say, like, the Temperance card, it's a good card, but he could stop doing what he's doing, and he could easily just walk down this path on this card. So I feel some of you just have to claim something. Like that card said, it says choose your outcome. I almost feel like you do need to say, this is the outcome I desire. That's it. And you need to claim it. You have the Nine of Cups coming up right next to this Eight of Cups. So you definitely could be walking towards the Nine of Cups, like I said earlier, and finding fulfillment. The Nine of Cups is about just choosing to be fulfilled, no matter what, and not needing, he is just kind of being in the energy of what he wants, and he doesn't need his circumstances to necessarily reflect that to him, and that is kind of the secret, again, with the Nine of Cups. A lot of people say this is a card of wish fulfillment, which it is, but again, the trick is to get the wish is to be in the energy of what you want regardless of what's happening around you. Right? And so that is the energy I would practice with that Nine of Cups. But again, it's coming up in the area of what you don't see coming. So there definitely could be a wish. With the Three of Cups, you have the Lovers. Yep, could be love as well. There is a little bit of love here. And the Three of Cups could represent meeting a person through socializing. If you're already interested in a person, it could be a person you do socialize with, or like a friend or something like that. But the Lovers can represent a great connection. And we have the Knight of Cups with the Strength card and the Ten of Cups here. So some of you could be meeting a person that you have a family with or that you have a deep connection with. With the Temperance card, you have the Eight of Swords. Yes, Eight of Swords is only seeing one outcome, right? So very simple reading as well. You just need to focus on one outcome, like a different outcome. Here's the other thing that I need to spit out right here, Capricorn, is that we have the Two of Swords, which she has a blindfold on her eyes. The Eight of Swords, she has a blindfold on her eyes. The blindfold in the tarot represents needing to trust your intuition, and that might be something that's missing, from the reading, is, really listening to what your intuition is telling you right now and needing to do that. Eight of Swords is also about being flexible, again, right next to the Seven of Cups. It's almost like the Seven of Cups is the solution to the Eight of Swords because, again, the Eight of Swords, she's trying to solve a problem in only one way, when there are many ways that she could solve the problem that she's in right now. So I feel that you have to be open to all ways of solving things. With the Nine of Cups, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is sometimes analysis paralysis. He's kind of like looking at what he's grown, and, he might be limiting himself. That's kind of what I feel for you, Capricorn. Even though this is coming up in the unexpected, I don't really feel that it is unexpected. Like, maybe you already know that you are doing this, but he's looking at what he's done, and he could be applying that to a new situation. And so I feel like you need to realize that you are capable of more. It's like you are capable of doing more. You are capable of accomplishing more. Even the Ten of Cups here is about realizing or needing to realize that you are kind of capable of bringing that dream down to earth. Next, we're going to look at any challenges that you have to overcome over the next 3 months. You have this meditate and contemplate card, with all the intuition stuff for sure. And you also have this bring love into the situation card. Your first card is the Queen of Cups. So as a challenge, the Queen of Cups needs to follow her heart. She basically needs to do more of what she loves. And maybe that is a challenge here, Capricorn. Again, you have the Queen of Cups, the Two of Wands, the Knight of Cups, and the Strength card. Again, Queen of Cups, her challenge is that she has to follow her heart. Definitely after Saturn and Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn, which you've experienced for, 19 years, last almost 20 years of your life. I feel that it's almost, it's almost like too practical of an energy where it like forces you to be practical and things like that. And now we're entering into an impractical time where we need to be dreaming and we need to be intuitive and coming up with bigger ideas. And we need to be innovative as well, more flexible with Pluto and Aquarius. So, I feel all those things. I don't know that it's necessarily a challenge. I feel it's something that could easily be overcome, but it's also something that I would work with. Like, don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to, experience variety and do different things in your life. Also, don't be afraid of following your heart, right? No matter what anyone says, I feel you need to follow your heart more. You have the Two of Wands. Yeah, so like leaving a comfort zone is probably a little bit of a challenge here with the Two of Wands. I also get like assumptions, like, if there are things that you want here, Capricorn, in your life, whatever it is, doesn't matter. I feel that you could be making certain assumptions about like what is required or, what will go into it or what the story will be. And, I feel that if you would just like let all that go, that things would go much better than you think. Like even about love, maybe you're thinking like, oh, if I, date my friend or whatever with this Three of Cups, or if I, date this person, they're going to be like XYZ, but really they're not, maybe they're going to be completely different. So I feel the Two of Wands is encouraging you to leave like the safety net, the security. The Two of Wands is about leaving a comfort zone. He's standing at the top of this castle, and he has his village down here. But the whole point of the village is that he needs to leave this comfort zone. He's built a certain level of security in his life, and it's like, yeah, he might feel safe, but at the same time, he might be protecting himself from things he doesn't need to, or he might be cheating himself out of this right here. He might be cheating himself out of having the Ten of Cups, his dream, or things that he would enjoy because he's making certain assumptions about how things will go. Next, for your next challenge, you have the Knight of Cups and the Strength card. So, love could be a challenge for some of you, or allowing a knight in shining armor into your life could be a challenge. The Knight of Cups is also very dreamy, and the Strength card is about having the strength to, make a dream happen. And so some of you might need to, kind of like embrace your own inner strength here. The Strength card is your inner strength. That lion is her inner voice, and she's the one that's taking control of her inner voice, and she's the one that's making things happen. So some of you might need to take control of your inner voice here. Like I said, Knight of Cups is your dream, so some of you might need to kind of like put more work into a dream. With the Queen of Cups, you have the King of Wands, which you have twice right here. The King of Wands is about being more bold, assertive, confident, really going for what you want, really making things happen. And so that it's like this could be part of your solution to any challenges you're facing. Being more bold, assertive, confident, really going for things could be, something that you do. We also have the King and Queen of Wands here. So, again, you could be attracting a divine counterpart. Yes, with the Two of Wands, you have the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is the need to escape from convention. King of Pentacles represent the way things have always been done. And the trick with the King of Pentacles is we have to experiment. I always say that the easiest thing to do with this card is like 80% of the time, do what works in life. But like 20% of the time, try something new. Be willing to experiment. Be willing to move in new directions and do different things, right? And if you do that, you will probably surprise yourself. With the Strength card and the Knight of Cups, you have the Eight of Pentacles. There you go. So Eight of Pentacles is really good, but Eight of Pentacles can be putting in the work and really making things happen. He's also really kind of focused. You have that Owl card that says you see clearly now. And so we are definitely in a time where I believe we need to pick one thing and make it happen. I mean, just, Chris's crappy astrology here, down and dirty astrology. Next year, Saturn and Neptune both back in Aries. It's like, Aries is about needing to see things through to the end. So if you're working on something, you need to complete it. Also a really good card for money. And, again, even though it's coming up in a challenge position, I think really the challenge is maybe working on something new or putting your work out into the world, opening up to criticism, being messy with the South Node in Virgo, all the astrology things that are going on right now. Next, we're going to look at the good stuff. You have this Body and Soul card and this Earth Magic card. You are an Earth sign, obviously. The Earth Magic card is about grounding something in reality, and the Ten of Cups is about needing to bring that dream that you have down to Earth. So I feel like it's time. Body and Soul card, again, I feel it's a really good time for you to tap in more spiritually, like meditate, go for walks, wherever you get your answers or wherever you listen to your higher self is what I would be doing here. You have the King of Wands, the Death card, and the Ten of Cups. Again, if you're looking for love, definitely could be a very bold, assertive, confident person that you are attracting here. With the Ten of Cups, could be a person that you have a family with. The Death card could also be a big change. I kind of wonder if that's part of the challenge. For those of you that want love, I feel like maybe that is part of the challenge for Capricorn. It's like you've developed this, safe comfort zone, and this would be something that would require a big change, even though it's coming up in the good stuff. So you're probably going to do it anyway, eventually, whatever it is. But, that could be what you are leaving behind. I also feel that, again, it's like I think the thing that Capricorn needs to really realize is that you're not going to be punished for trying things now. It's not like you have been punished, but I definitely feel it feels like a punishment. Like, during the years of Pluto and Capricorn, if you tried to start something or, tried to start a business or whatever, maybe it felt like you were punished by starting it, right? Maybe it feels like things where you were really held back or, that things didn't work out or whatever the case may be. And I feel like the King of Wands is saying you need to realize that if you do anything now, it's not going to be the same. You're not going to experience such big swings in the energy. And so it's almost as if you're protected from risk. Next, you have the Death card. Big changes coming in for Capricorn for sure. Again, it takes a while for that Pluto energy to kind of clear. So I feel like you've been waiting, for those changes. But I do feel there are some happy changes. We have the two pillars from the moon back here, and the sun is coming up between those two pillars. So the Death card, this right here can say that you're entering into a time of clarity, which we see with the owl spirit that says you see clearly now. So a lot of you might just be getting a lot of clarity over the next few months. You have the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups is like fortune after difficulty. Definitely very positive. Happy home, happy family. So if you want love, there definitely could be a very solid connection. We go like this, down from the Lovers to the King of Pentacles. I really do like the King of Pentacles for love because he can, represent a person. It doesn't have to be a he either. It could be whatever gender you're into, but can represent a person that's like really serious about the connection. So there you go. With the King of Wands, you have the Star. Everybody's had the Star pretty much so far. The Star is about like one goal. Again, I think the secret sauce for most people probably at the end of the year, like it is to pick like one dream, one thing that would make your life significantly better and see it through to the end, whatever it is, even if you think it's impossible. Again, Neptune in Pisces is the impossible dream. Neptune retrogrades back into Pisces soon, in October, the middle of October. And so, I would be working on something that seems hard or difficult or like it's impossible. Because if there ever was a time where we could accomplish the impossible dream, it would be right now. So, I would be working towards that. With the Death card, you have the Tower. There you go. But, we have the Star, so wouldn't worry about the Tower. Plus, it's coming up in the good stuff. This would just be a big change that's happening in your life. The Tower's come up quite a bit, so we're going to see plenty of global Tower moments over the next many years, and, that's what you could be experiencing here. But the Tower, again, can just represent a big change. With the Ten of Cups, you have the Emperor. definitely could be attracting an emperor into your life here, Capricorn. So, if you're looking for love or a connection, you could be attracting your emperor, your empress, whichever you prefer. Doesn't matter. But that looks really good. Let's see. We're going to look for anything else that wants to come out. You have this defense card. You do have the 7 of Wands and the 5 of Wands. Might be a good time to keep your ideas to yourself as well, especially if you're, if you know that criticism, will stop you from doing something. We're all different. And, I feel this could be saying you should keep those things to yourself for now. You have this enthusiasm card. Yes, probably the best energy to work with right now, because we're all kind of peeing into the wind here, Capricorn. That's like the best analogy I can give you for the time that we're in, where it's kind of like we're hoping that things move forward and we're hoping that it doesn't blow back on us, right? And so I feel you need to follow your enthusiasm. You have the Secrets card. It's actually a good card. This is a good card for looking for information. It says that there could be like hidden or secret information that could be very beneficial. And it is a great time for research. We still have Pluto retrograde until the middle of October, basically. So, Pluto retrograde is great for going deep into ideas or, things that you want to work on or create. And so great time for research. I would say as long as you're taking action on the research, like don't just learn, learn, implement. You have this protection card. I feel like you are protected at this time. And so, I'll say that. It's like your ideas are protected as well. And nope. Let's see. Finally, you have this patience card. If you want love, I feel like you have been very patient. This is a love card. They're like these two people here. So there could be love coming in for you that's taken some time. King of Pentacles is very patient. You could be dealing with like a slow person or someone who, is just slower to make moves or whatever. But I don't know. Looks good to me. So this looks pretty good here, Capricorn. I like it. Thank you for being here. And I forgot to say, make sure to leave a like and a comment. Really helps me out. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your next 3 months.